So I can't help but think about relationship and this idea that we can let them be and to accept them as they are. And somehow, how difficult that seems to be. And I get curious why that seems so difficult for a lot of us to really allow the person who we love to be who it is that they are, and simultaneously discover the person that they're becoming. And I feel like these are micro nuances that we just often forget. That the other person is not here for our satisfaction. If there is satisfaction, and that is part of their nature and how they are and how they show up, and that's common to them, then it sounds like there's a good compatibility there. But as far as them changing, another person changing for us, that for me is where it gets a little nuanced. Because when it comes from these places of demanding people to be different so that we're happy, I don't know that that is a recipe for long-term happiness. First, I don't know that I would really be a happy person truly if all of the spiritual tests that I have, I somehow am asking the other person to show up and be different so that I don't have to take a look at those inside of myself. And so I don't know that I could derive real happiness from asking somebody else to change. And yet, also within that are some potential personality conflicts that if one were to understand or be shown or be related with there, they very well could have a deeper insight into what's going on with them that they wouldn't have had you not said anything, and want to make that difference, want to change. But that changing still, from my opinion, is coming from a place within the other person and their desire to be different because of the impact that they see inside themselves and also outside of themselves. And that recognition of the person they want to become, in a way, drives that acknowledgement. There's so many more nuances in there, I think, too, that I notice myself wanting to be pulled into talking about. But I'm going to stay as focused as I can on this one thought. The idea that letting somebody be themselves, ideally, we love well enough that the other person feels free to be themselves. And so our work really then is continuing to love another person as they are and continue to see what arises within us that is not loving, that is withholding light from ourselves, that we no longer can see that light or that love in the other person. And those would be the things to bring more conscious awareness to, the me that's inside my experience that is having a tough time with whatever is going on outside of myself. And then my spiritual practice would be to continually show up and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, aware of what's going on inside of my own inner world, and changing, shifting, getting curious about that, versus looking for the world as I know it outside of me as an idea to be somehow different. So I build more muscles, I build more expansion. Now that I say that, maybe I'd correct that. I'd probably surrender more into expansion by allowing things to be as they are. And life then is a lot more simple because it's very self-directed. And if I believe that I'm the director, then I am a lot more empowered to be responsible to the life that I see and allow others to do the same. And I think it's that space and that nuance where I allow the sovereignty of others, and maybe allow is not the word, but I'm aware that others have equal rights to me as a sovereign being in this world to look or not to look, to find, discover, get curious about, notice, be aware of one's own suffering, and do something to integrate that suffering back into the whole of self or not. And regardless of what another chooses to do, the freedom really lies in seeing that I have no control over another, manipulating another to meet me, to have my needs met, would be an injustice to myself and to the testing that's happening inside me that is refining my consciousness to allow more. And in allowing, I'm learning how to expand more love. So I can hold more, I can love more. That is, at any point in time, sitting in a realm of discomfort. Just recognizing that life is not going to be always comfortable, and that the more I can surrender to allowing things and people to be as they are, because they are, the less impacted I am to trying to make things be a certain way. And in any form, move beyond the idea even of instant gratification and the things that I think would make me happy, and just keep, interestingly, focusing on myself and loving people, and more deeply loving the light that is within each person, loving the soul and the spirit of each person, whether I agree with the behavior or not. All right. Thank you for being with me.